Good day to you, partner. I'm Dee, and I can already tell that I'll be your best friend in this forsaken camp.
Hey guys, Weed Solo here, aka the Skeleton King. So this is kind of a quick video I'm making. I'm just throwing it together. TopWoog is showing off his new special Necro. This Necro can easily go from Rathma to Dclone with just a couple item swap. Basically ring, ammy, and that's it. He's showing off this shield in particular because getting an all-res core is actually better for this build than getting a third socket. Then he's just got typical gear. The Sapphires are in his CTA, and that's just because he will use the fight for Rathma as well. Here he is showing off his, sick stuff and his little fancy-ass charm. His corrupted Annie is so sad. The biggest thing I want to talk about this gear, besides the fact that it is really nice that he can do both fights while swapping very little gear. But by the way, there would be more optimal swaps where you would swap a few more items than just the, ammies and rings. And we'll probably do that at some point. There's an idea of a different helm. There's circlets that would be very good for Rathma. That wouldn't really help you too much for Dclone. There's a boot swap that we could do depending on if we get one of these sick circlets. Landas has this sick ammy. I don't think he has a sick circlet yet, but basically a sick circlet would be like a +3 PNB with a bunch of life, some poison length reduction, +1 all skill core, 2 sockets. And the reason why that'd be so good for Rathma is you don't really need the extra stats Shaco provides. And with these different stats you could do different things. By the way, of course, we go ahead and we get our Uduars. The first little 25% of the fight goes so fast it's ridiculous. The revives do a good job of grouping up all the minions, and it looks like 4 desecrates to kill them. I'll pay more attention next time. The really important part aren't really the skeleton warriors. They're not really a threat for necromancers. It's the archers. The archers can ruin your life very, very quickly and put you in a very bad mood. I'm going to see how well... TopWoog, by the way, he sent me a cleaner kill after this, and I apologize to you, TopWoog. And he has streamlined his play. And basically, he'll do a desecrate, 2 to 3 revives, and then move. One of the things that I always told to TopWoog, and this is not that easy to accomplish, is only move when you have to. It's really easy in fights like this to move more than necessary because you think you're in trouble. This is the new best spot for the cold Nova waves. This little section is incredibly safe. The only problem are bone spirits, but that's a problem anywhere. In fact, there's a way you could stand there. This is what Landas does, and he just pops the bone spirit and then slams a few rejuves. Now, Landas runs blood golems. TopWoog runs revives. I'm in the blood golem camp firmly. TopWoog is in the revive camp, although he admits that it's possible that blood golems could be better. For one, character level matters. Blood golems AR is connected to your character level, which affects this fight a little bit. It would just be a 1% or 2% chance to hit. It also would affect their open wounds damage, which, all these little things add up. The big problem with blood golems is if you want to run bone armor, which I think is a great idea for this fight, he's not casting it right now, but basically at any point where you have a little extra time, having a few, 200, 300 extra health is not something to sneeze at. By the way, of course, once Diablo goes under, 70% or whatever, the Uduars stop crushing blow and the fight becomes a lot slower. We're thinking we can get this fight to sub 8 minutes consistently. That's what it seems like to me. And then real quickly back to the Cold Nova thing. Landas thinks that blood golems are actually better in that phase because you can cast them exactly where you want. And so you can cast them to proc a Bone Spirit or cast them to tank a Cold Nova projectile. And so that's actually another little thing. He doesn't just spam or juice. That's in the bad case. By the way, as you can see, is that 2 desecrates? 3? 2.5. Can 2 actually kill them if it's 2 full ones? I wonder. I'm trying to look at that one skeleton archer. So I think well, technically it's not BIS, but for the way we're doing it, it's basically as good as it's going to get. Well, his D-Web could be a bit better. There's definitely probably a build that can do archers and 2 desecrates, and even with this build, we might be able to hit that. By the way, you did see a bone armor cast. I think he did mention he usually only uses it for the archers. The problem with archers is not just they do damage, it's that they're going to incur frame recovery, and bone armor helps you not incur frame recovery. And then you could say, well, you have to cast it, so isn't that just like frame recovery? The difference is you cast it when you want, not when you don't know you're going to be stuck in an animation. I don't even know what his FHR is. Actually, I should ask him. That would have been good information. By the way, he's definitely having trouble keeping revives up in this fight. He mentions he's better at keeping 5 to 8 up. And this is where I would like to talk about something more complicated. By the way, he just went over a Thorned Hulk, which would be his best DPS summon. He's doing pretty good right now. I think he's running back and forth because he's afraid that the trapped spirit next to him is going to cast a Bone Spirit, but it's not. I'm not sure what the running back and forth thing is about. Or maybe he just wants to stay mobile. So this is something more complicated, and it's something I never did consistently. What I was always best at in this game, or what I took most seriously, what I spent most of my time doing, is being the P8 Skelly King. You know, I created my build as far as I know. I mean, it wasn't that original, but a little different. And there's definitely, you can have your go-to play style. Like, this is what I do in general. But that is never optimal because game states change too much. Now, let's be frank. We're playing a 20-year-old ARPG that gives you a lot of time to deal with everything in this fight. Like, I know this fight is tough. I'm not saying it's not. But, I mean, we're not playing, CSGO, okay? We don't have to do 420 no scopes. We don't have to flick our wrist, okay? I mean, he's moving it back and forth. I do it too, but there's no competition here. We're not playing Melee, all right? We're playing Smash Brawl. We're playing Brawl right now. So the thing is there's never... Having a routine is very important because there's always going to be times where either you're not in a clear state of mind, or based on the situation in the game, it's just nice to have something that you have practiced. So, like, for instance, his practice of... So, as you can see, when he's running around here, he only targets the archers, and I guess he targets the mages a bit. I think that's just because they were next to each other. The reason why is the warriors will always group themselves eventually, whether it's on a revive or to you. The archers will always kind of remain wherever they are. They won't quite group. And once you get rid of them, the warriors will die very quickly. You just put a desecrate next to them. After 3, they're done, right? I think it was 3. It might have been 4. But the idea is this. There's a mental state you can get into where... And look, I'm telling you, I'm not very good. But I know, just based on my own self, that there are multiple ways that I can play this game. And some of them are more reactive to what's actually happening, while some of them are more preordained with things I have practiced. Since this game is relatively slow compared to many things humans do in their lives, it's nice to try and be able to put yourself in a position where you play actually based on what is going on around you, not what you think might be going on around you. So when TopWoog says, I generally... he almost died right there. Yeah, man, those invisible bone... Well, that wasn't even invisible. Those bone spirit patches wreck you. Oh, he almost died again. Oh, that was rough. Sorry. I got a little bit of a cough all of a sudden. It's really nice to be able to have that practice. But when I talk about having the actual reaction. As you can see, there are times in this fight where TopWoog moves and it is unnecessary. And so I would still encourage him. And by the way, I can't always do this even playing P8 maps, which can be stressful. Okay, you can die in those as a summoner, trust me. I mean, I'm playing very aggressively. But there are definitely games where I was like, wow, I played that really well. And then there are games where it was like, okay, I was just doing the motor routine, the basic, you know, I cast 3 curses, I warp. I cast 3 curses, I warp. But that's not always the most optimal thing to be doing. Based on a situation, you might only need 1 cast and then, you know, stomp to another group and cast curses there. So in this fight, I think he's actually doing pretty well in this final phase. In fact, just because the final phase is so chaotic, wow, he almost died again. That's just how this fight is. I think he could be doing better earlier on, and it would just make the whole fight smoother. I actually think his play right now is the best it's been the whole fight, because it actually looks like he's generally moving only when it's necessary. That was an invisible bone spirit patch. I don't know if you guys noticed that. He was taking a lot of damage there, and I don't think there were that many meteors going off. By the way, all credits go to TopWoog. I'm just a washed-up YouTube personality now. I barely even play this game. Okay? I'm the Beggar King, guys. Beggar King out. GG.
Sounds to me like he gave you your first "Oh, Canada" face.
Poor thing. To have to grow up in Canada. With America right there.
Canada, you did it again. You even found a way to ruin this. Why? Why do we let you be a country?
Play with us. Come play with us, Daddy. Forever.